Hello, welcome to this episode of Be Lovers Again, Relationship Advice. I'm Dr. Jackie Black. I have a question for you today about your follow through. How is your follow through? On a scale of 1 to 5, do you do what you say and say what you do all the time? Exactly the way you said you would do it? Most of the time? Some of the time? Not very much of the time? Not at all. Don't pay any attention. Now, I know that that's not you. I know that you have a very high level of mindfulness and integrity when you and your partner interact with each other. So you're probably in the middle, that you do it most of the time. I wanted to say much of the time, most of the time, almost exactly the way you said you would do it when you would do it. So here's what I want you to know. That doing what you say and saying what you do is critical. It's a very important behavior, and it has to do with, it connects directly to the level of intimacy that you have. It connects to your sex life. You know, how could that be? What is the relationship? Saying what you do and doing what you say, following through, is the same thing as making a commitment and honoring your commitment, or making an agreement and honoring your agreement. When you make a commitment and you don't honor it, when you make an agreement and you don't honor it, it's a betrayal. It's experienced by the person at the other end of the agreement or the commitment as betrayal. You did not do the thing that you said you would do. It gets tangled up. It's very messy, and it gets tangled up with trust, reliability, dependability. You see, we want to rely on our partner's word. When you tell us something, we want to rely on what you're telling us. You want to rely on our word. You want to rely on your partner's word. When she or he tells you something, you want to hear it, recognize it, believe it, trust it, you're done. When they don't do what they say they're going to do, they don't do it exactly the way they say they're going to do it. And that's an important point. It's a betrayal. That's how it's experienced. And it's not experienced in the head. The head can say, oh, well, it's close, or oh, well, they had good intentions, or it's fine, it'll work. That's what your brain says. But your brain is not the place inside you that registers hurt, that registers disappointment, that registers disillusionment. You want to always attend to matters of the heart. Always understand that in your relationship, the core of your relationship is built on vulnerability, openness, relying on each other's words, believing that you will do the thing that you intend to do, that what you're saying, what you're telling me is the truth. Your truth is exactly the way you experience yourself, the world, your interactions, your disappointments, the things that don't work for you, your upsets. See, that's important, that we report accurately, that our view of the world, that we share our view of the world with each other in a way that accurately reflects who we are and how we show up. Doing what you say, saying what you do. Making agreements, making commitments. It's all the same thing. And you might say, well, saying that I'll pick up the laundry before they close isn't the same as making a commitment. Yes, it is. It just is. You can parse words. You can create all these concepts about what commitment is, what agreement is. But the fact of the matter is that when you're in a loving relationship, when you are committed to another person, when you are involved and invested in another person's present and future, it's all the same thing. And it's heart-centered, it's heart-related, because we are open-hearted, we're vulnerable. And let me tell you something very important. When you're vulnerable, when you're open-hearted, you are more hurtable. So the more vulnerable you are, the more open-hearted you are, the more emotionally able you are to relate, to be available to your partner, the more hurtable you are. So the idea that you do what you say and you say you do what you say and you say what you will do and what you do to the limit of the letter. Not because we're nitpicking, right? Not because there's any pressure, but because you're protecting your partner's heart. You're protecting the openness and the vulnerability with which he or she hears you, believes you, and relies on your word, relies on, depends on, not trust. Trust is more quicksand, we can talk about another time. But the idea that we rely on each other's word is very important. And the depth, the magnitude, the amount of openness and vulnerability directly relates to your sex life. It directly relates to how open you each are to each other sexually, right? To surrender, to be vulnerable. So I'm going to talk more and more as the weeks go by about all of these things that relate directly to our vulnerability. Because I hear people say more and more that they are becoming friends. They're wonderful companions. They love each other deeply, but they're no longer lovers. And that means energetically, spiritually, as well as physically and sexually. These things can be complicated. And there's ways sometimes that talking with a relationship professional can help you sort through, unwrap some of the messiness. And I'd like to help you do that. I'd like to be your guide through the quagmire of stuff that you don't understand, offer tips and tools and strategies that you can apply immediately that will help to break up the quagmire, to alleviate some of the messiness that can really help and can help fast. So let's talk. Go to talktodrjackie.com. It'll take you directly to my online calendar, and let's schedule a call so that I can hear what's going on, what are your wins, what are your challenges, and let's explore how I can help. Talktodrjackie.com. Have an awesome rest of your weekend, and remember, be courageous, be open-hearted, stand in your own personal truth, and remember that only you can make it happen. Take very good care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.